I'm going to ask you a question, which is then going to leapfrog us into me being mad, which will then allow you to be mad with me, okay?
Oh, okay. Okay. Like we're both going to be mad at the same
We're
thing?
both going to be mad at the same thing,
Perfect.
but you don't know that you're going to be mad yet.
Oh, okay. Love this.
Preemptive madness.
Perfect.
Do you remember the first soda you ever drank? The first carbonated, calorie, sugar-filled beverage that touched Little Debbie's lips?
I'm sure that it was a Coke, meaning a Coca-Cola.
Coke brand product?
I feel like that, though. I mean, it could have been a Fanta product, like orange or grape.
Okay.
Could have been orange or grape.
I'm assuming in a glass bottle.
In a glass bottle, yep. Oh, for sure. But, in terms of memory, do you want to know what I really remember? Like, I don't remember the first real soda, but I'm sure it was full of sugar.
Oh, you know what? It probably wasn't even in a bottle. It was probably at a fountain at a diner or something like that, right?
Yeah,
like a soda fountain?
They would have had bottles because everywhere were those things that
Pop Tops?
that you'd reach down in the cooler, you'd pull one out, and then there was a pop top on the side of the cooler.
Got it.
Okay, so that for sure. Like at the grocery store had that, and I can picture Coca-Cola on the side. But I can remember my mother bringing home a 6-pack can, and she said, "This tastes just like Coke, but it doesn't have any calories. It's called Tab."
Tab. They still make Tab.
So Tab was in a pink can. Maybe it was not reddish like Coke because it wasn't quite Coke. I don't know. I don't know why they would have called it Tab.
It's a maroon can.
It used to be a pink can.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The original Tab was not maroon. It was pink.
Got it.
And do you think they called it Tab? Maybe they introduced Tab. I don't know if this is true. With the pull top tabs?
Was it one of the first sodas that came exclusively in a can, and cans used to have the pull tab, not
the pull tabs? I forget about those. Yeah.
Not the where you break the top of it with the tab, but you had to literally pull it.
Yeah. Maybe it was that. But I remember Tab being the thing, and then it's all we had in our house for a long time.
Did you ever drink RC Cola?
Drank RC Cola for sure, Royal Crown, and we didn't call it RC. We called it Royal Crown.
Was it supposed to go with like Crown Royal, the alcoholic beverage?
Oh, I don't know. But we called it Royal Crown.
So when would you say you adopted Diet Coke exclusively in your life?
Sometime before you were born.
Got it.
Because I feel like I wasn't a good mother. I feel like I let you have Diet Coke at a pretty early age.
For sure.
Oh, don't look at me like that.
I feel like I don't remember a life without Diet Coke.
Well, okay. Before, I guess maybe I was unaware of all the chemicals in it, and I just felt like you shouldn't have massive amounts of sugar. So I was carrying on, my mom started with Tab. I was carrying on the Diet Coke, and clearly I had a Diet Coke addiction then.
They're like, sugar's bad for you, but you know what is better for you? This thing called aspartame. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Allow me to get you mad.
Okay, let's do it.
Clearly, this is a Diet Coke household. We drink Diet Coke if we drink soda. Deb and I have talked about our Diet Coke runs, whether to 7-Eleven or to McDonald's or to Five Guys. We drink Diet Coke. I have only ever really known Diet Coke as the soda of choice for the Zener household. If we were going to do an advertising campaign with somebody and it had to be soda, it would be Diet Coke.
Oh, it would be
1,000%.
For sure.
For
sure. We believe in them. And in fact, this week I was somewhere and the waitress said, "Will a Diet Pepsi do?" And I said, "If you put a lime in it, because then it tastes enough different that I don't expect it to be a Diet Coke."
The real answer is no, get the hell out of here with that.
That is the real answer for sure.
You have to suffice. We would have done only Diet Coke advertising until I saw these ads. The first ad starts out by saying, "Diet Coke, what are you, my mom?"
What?
It's insinuating that Diet Coke is consumed by the older generation, thus uncool. But what the ad then goes on to say, and it's like a minute-long ad, and it's really trying to like gas up moms, like how awesome moms are. They gave you life. They can instill fear without like saying anything. And, they set trends way back before it was trendy. They just did it because it was cool, right?
Right.
But they're taking shots at moms by saying you don't think Diet Coke is cool because your mom drank it or drinks it.
Oh, no. No.
Doesn't feel good, does it?
No. But wait, are they insinuating a substitution?
No, they're saying you don't think Diet Coke is cool, Zoomer, but you don't think Diet Coke is cool because you don't think your mom is cool. But let me tell you why your mom is cool. But I don't like the notion that somebody doesn't think my mom isn't cool.
I like the notion that moms are all thing vintage and vintage is incredibly cool.
That's what the ad goes on to say.
Oh, okay. Well, then good. Look what a smart marketing person I am.
But let me get really mad because this now throws me into the mix.
Oh, okay.
It's the same type of ad campaign, but they took a shot at your boy.
Oh, no, Kev.
The similar ad starts by saying, you know, some people say old people drink Diet Coke. Excuse me? Excuse me? I know Deb is out here chastising me for being a geriatric millennial.
True.
But I'm 37 years old. I'm not old. I haven't even reached middle-aged yet. And they proceed to glamorize like only wearing resort wear, eating at 4 p.m., and doing whatever you want. But I'm like, wait a minute. You're trying to get a younger generation to drink a product by insinuating that the older generation is cool. But you know who you're alienating? The older generation who drinks Diet Coke.
And they're, alienating, offending. How much money have I spent on Diet Coke over the years?
I feel like a countryman without a country right now. The Coca-Cola Corporation, in trying to be relevant, is alienating the people that they're trying to hold up because the ad ends by saying, listen to your elders. WTF, Deb?
I don't want to be called your elder.
I don't want to be called anything that anybody can point to as a reason why you should or shouldn't do something based on my age.
You know, Coca-Cola needs to rethink this marketing strategy. I don't like it at all.
I don't like it one bit. And look,
what can we do?
Did I tell you that I was going to get you mad, or did I tell you I was going to get you mad?
Here's where I thought it was going to go for a second. I thought that they were going to tell me to drink Coke Zero. Like Coke Zero is cool now.
Fair.
That's where I thought we were going to go. But wait, what does Coke Zero? It has zero what?
Sugars.
Zero sugars, 0 calories.
Oh, maybe it's not 0 sugars. Maybe it's 0 calories. Well, Diet Coke has 0 calories.
They're the same, but they don't taste the same.
I think it's 0 sugar.
Well, Diet Coke doesn't have any sugar.
I think it's 0 flavor.
Thank you. Because guess what? It's not zero. It's not 0 caffeine.
It's not 0 caffeine.
I initially thought it was like 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 caffeine, 0 fat, 0 whatever. Okay, all the obvious things. Like it was had a little bit more. I don't think there's a difference. Why would you mess with perfection? What is Diet Coke?
Diet Coke is awesome.
It's perfection.
Here's what I know. Even Mormons can drink Diet Coke now.
They can, but you know what they prefer?
What?
Mountain Dew.
Gross.
It's true.
I mean, we can listen. You and I can sit here and get super upset about Diet Coke alienating its base, but everybody can rally around the fact that Mountain Dew is disgusting.
Hey, Mountain Dew has so much caffeine in it, it will make you like lose your mind. But, you know, I don't know all of the LDS people of the world.
Yeah.
But I know some.
Mm-hmm.
And I think almost everybody I know drinks Mountain Dew. And if they don't, I'm going to hear about it for sure.
I don't want to draw lines, but essentially what this ad is saying is, hey, either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself be the villain, or just let us use you as a marketing tool because the younger generation doesn't think you're cool or the products that you drink are cool. Thus, we're going to try to gas you up, but also simultaneously selling you out. And I don't appreciate that.
See, there is this thing, and I've always thought this about, and maybe it's the geriatric millennials I'm referring to, but I have always felt, in fact, I've said this to you over the years, I have felt that boomers were the perfect parents, you know, meaning my boomer age, the perfect parents to your millennial age, meaning like we didn't care about all the same things at the same time. We cared about the same things. Okay, we might have screwed up the plan a little bit for you. You seem a little bit resentful of that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Possibly that. But, you know,
You screwed it up so much that I'm sitting here on a podcast screaming about the fact that an ad has made me feel a certain way. That's the only hill I can die on now.
So there are some things we didn't get right. However, How many restaurants have you and I been to where I go like, Kevin, look around the restaurant. It's everybody my age and everybody your age. No in-betweens,
Yeah.
you know? And nobody young. I mean, like, it's everybody my age, everybody. Like, there's a bunch of the same stuff we like. Point being, Diet Coke. They should have brought us together on that. They should have gone into one of these lovely restaurants that we go to. They should have done a wide angle shot and said, the generational divide is not here when it comes to Diet Coke. This is what they all agree on. No matter who you are, you love Diet Coke because that's the truth.
Hey, Diet Coke, be better.
Be better.
Let's start the podcast.
Welcome to the Deb and Kev podcast. One is a Harvard Business School alum. The other is her son, discussing business, pop culture, family, and everything in between. Now, here are your hosts, Deb and Kev.
Hey, hi, hello, and welcome to the Deb and Kev podcast. Sitting right there with a glowing golden Pacific sunshine tan, it's my mom, Deb.
I'm Deb.
I could barely get through that. And I'm now infamous internationally for having bailandoed deep into the Mexican night. I'm her son, Kev, and this is our podcast. And we're both wearing pink.
We're both wearing pink.
It looks like Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but I think that's in February.
No, I think it might be October. Maybe we just missed it.
I feel like it's February.
Really?
I have
you
no
could
idea.
Google it.
On today's show, we are down to the final five in Mariel, England, and we'll tell you the bittersweet results of the Great British Bake Off. What to tell your boss when you've decided to quit? That's the topic of Deb's business segment. And we are back with brand new questions for Dear Debbie, and like the Sugar Hill Gang, we'll wrap this episode up with what we are thankful for and what's for dinner. But first, do you know who the Sugar Hill Gang is?
The Sugar Hill Gang.
Do you know who they are?
The Sugar Hill Gang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you know who they are, but just like tell the audience, because there's some people who in the audience who probably don't know who the Sugar Hill Gang is. Just educate them real quick.
The Sugar.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know you know it, but it's only right that everybody understands.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Sugar Hill Gang is like the takeoff on a Western gang. I mean, like, that's what they're trying to emulate.
Oh, the Sugar Hill Gang
Yeah.
is like a pseudo gang based on a Western gang.
Yeah.
Like a Western gang of cowboys.
Yeah.
I have no correction. You're spot on. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
What they definitely aren't is a 1980s rap group who like founded pop culture rap music.
The Sugar Hill Gang. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
No, but they're
Are
they're a Western cowboy group.
Are they related to Lauryn Hill's gang?
Who's Lauryn Hill's gang?
You know who Lauryn Hill is?
The Refugees?
No, isn't Lauryn Hill like a really like a singer of that time?
Oh, you mean the Fugees?
Who are the Fugees?
Lauryn Hill's gang.
You know who Lauryn Hill is?
The singer from Sister Act 2.
Yeah. Is that Lauryn Hill?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who do you think Lauryn Hill is?
No, that's who I think it is.
Do you think Lauryn Hill is Annie Oakley?
No, I don't think Lauryn Hill is Annie Oakley.
Who do you think? Let's be really honest here. Who did you think Lauryn Hill was?
I think Lauryn Hill is a very attractive Afro-American woman now.
So weird that you say Afro-American, but continue.
Afro-American woman.
Okay.
Woman now. I do think she has an amazing voice.
She does.
And I do think she's not as out there. We don't see her as much.
Correct.
She's not as present. And I think she has been at times controversial.
Yep.
And I think she would say she was an activist of sorts.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Is that right?
What group did you think she was a part of?
I was just saying, you said the Sugar Hill Gang, and
Right.
so I went Lauryn Hill Gang because you said, I don't know what you said, it was about the same time.
No. Lauryn Hill, I don't think was alive when the Sugar Hill Gang sang Rapper's Delight.
Oh, really?
I said
Okay.
a hip, hop, a hibbity, a hibbity to the hip, hip, pop, and you don't stop the rockin'. Deborah, that's insensitive.
I was trying to do my part.
Sometimes this podcast just has a beautiful life of its own, and Deb just gives me so much content that I otherwise wasn't anticipating, and that was a great example of it. But first, we are in the holiday season, and that means Starbucks seasonal holiday drinks. Deb, I know we have not frequented Starbucks lately because the pandemic, and then we had Nespresso machines, and we often make our own coffees. Is there a seasonal
Yeah.
Starbucks drink that you like. Because oftentimes you're just a tea person. You just like their teas.
Yeah. So I like their teas. Here's really the truth of all truths.
Yep.
Is that I'm not a huge coffee flavored person.
You don't like a sweet beverage.
Don't like a sweet beverage. The most I'll do is, in fact, it makes me laugh every time you say to me, pick up 3 sugar-free caramels,
Yes.
which are the syrups.
The Tirani syrup.
The Tirani syrups. I'm like, 3. Didn't we just buy 3? And I don't even put in, I put like less than 1/8 of a teaspoon in mine.
Yeah, I probably put a full tablespoon in mine.
Yeah, yours are like a big pump.
It cuts down the acidity for me, and then I can taste the coffee and the caramel, and to me, that's really nice. So I have a list here of Starbucks seasonal beverages that span the globe.
Would I try them?
So I don't know if the question is, would you try them? Because I think the answer is going to be predominantly no. But we can root these questions in, would you try them, and if they sound good to you.
Okay, because there are, if it were a snowy day, and this has happened for us, where we've ended up at our local Starbucks sitting, and it's a snowy, boot stomping, bundled up day. And on a day like that, I could try or order a flavored coffee. So go ahead. I'll be honest.
This is offered in all of North America. The caramel brulee latte, caramel brulee sauce, and a crunchy caramel brulee topping make this latte taste like a fancy French dessert.
Wouldn't drink it.
Does it sound good to you?
It's the crunchy stuff on top that I probably wouldn't do.
Oh, this isn't going to work for you then. Again, offered in North America, the Chestnut Praline Latte. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire have nothing on this chestnut praline latte topped with spiced praline crumbs. I like to change how I pronounce praline and praline.
I like the way you did that, but nope, again.
Not for Deb.
They haven't tempted me.
These look very good, by the way.
I'll bet they're delicious and full of interesting calories.
This is only offered in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. The Christmas Brulee Latte. This latte is made with creamy eggnog milk steamed with creme brulee sauce and espresso, then topped with Christmas brulee sprinkles.
So here is the thing. Let me just speak to this.
Okay.
Eggnog.
Yes.
I love me a good eggnog.
I love eggnog.
I'm excited when eggnog arrives.
It's here, baby.
No. I love it. I could, the second it appears in the store, I would be happy to have it in the house. Okay?
Okay.
When you take, and I can even eat a warm eggnog is fine for me. That's all okay and everything. Eggnog and brandy warm, It's the eggnog with a couple shots of espresso in it that I have a tough time with.
Really? I figured you would like that.
It.
Well, listen, I can drink eggnog straight, and that is, for somebody who texture is a big thing, eggnog doesn't have the best texture. You can equate it to some nasty stuff.
Yeah.
I adore it. So then when you add espresso into it, or when you heat it up a little bit, it kind of thins it out a little bit more, so it's even more palatable to me. Here is a Chinese-only beverage, and it's called the Christmas Dessert Latte, doubling as a dessert. This seasonal latte is inspired by British Christmas pudding and is flavored with Christmas pudding sauce, whipped cream, caramel sauce, and a mixed fruit sprinkle.
Not even.
That's a lot. You know what that reminds me of? It's like somebody said, what if we took fruitcake and made a drink out of it?
For sure. We were thinking the same thing.
Shout out all of our Latin Americans. The cranberry white chocolate mocha, sweet tart cranberry drizzle, tops this white chocolate espresso beverage along with whipped cream and crystallized cranberry sugar.
So I might actually be able to get behind that.
Okay.
Because I have a sense that I can still get a good bold coffee in there. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, how about this one? A hazelnut mocha. Nutella addicts will be very jealous of this chocolate hazelnut latte available hot, iced, or as a frappuccino only in Argentina and Uruguay.
I could get behind that. Do you remember when hazelnut was the syrup of choice in this
Absolutely.
house? Yeah, that was all.
You've converted me to caramel because you just only had caramel in the house, but I was always a hazelnut guy.
Yeah. And so I think absolutely. And again, hazelnut and coffee are really complementary.
Totally.
And that doesn't, what is a little bit of sugar over the whipped cream? That's nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Only in Japan can you get the Christmas strawberry cake milk. In Japan, it's tradition to eat strawberry cake at Christmas. You've probably seen the emoji. It now comes in drink form made with steamed milk, strawberry compote, and white mocha syrup that is then topped with whipped cream, strawberry topping, and a crushed biscuit. You can also get it as a frappuccino.
I mean, that's just dessert.
That's just dessert.
Yeah.
That's big time dessert.
They didn't even mention that coffee was in it.
Listen, I don't think Starbucks ever mentions that coffee's in anything. It's implied, but also I don't think anybody cares.
Okay.
Salted caramel brownie hot chocolate, available in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. Rich chocolate mocha sauce is blended with steamed milk and salted caramel sauce. It's garnished with salted caramel brownie whipped cream, a shake of brownie crumbles, and salted caramel brittle.
Okay, there's a piece of me that can get behind all those flavors.
Yes.
The salt with the coffee, that kind of works together, right?
Yep.
Of course, I love caramel. I'm gluten-free. That brownie isn't going to work.
That's true. Only in China can you get the snowy cheese-flavored latte made with baked cheese-flavored sauce. Think cheesecake, not Parmesan. This cozy drink is blended with espresso and topped with light whipped cream, blueberry sprinkles, and star-shaped crisps.
You lost me at cheese.
Got it. What is speculoos? Speculoos?
Speculoos?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Speculoos. The speculoos latte, only in Asia Pacific. Spiced caramel speculoos cookies are the inspiration for this espresso drink, which is also known as the caramel cinnamon cookie latte. I think we might be dealing with a snickerdoodle situation.
Probably not.
I think this is the last one, but I think you actually might enjoy this. The flat white with cinnamon spice, available in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Simpler than some of the more elaborate holiday concoctions at Starbucks, this flat white is blended with cinnamon, spice sugar, and with hints of vanilla and cardamom.
Yeah, I would have that for sure, flat white. But let me say this, which you didn't mention, which was one of the first things I was kind of waiting for. And it was something that I knew I would say yes to.
Don't get mad at me. This is just the list that I've found.
What about a peppermint mocha?
Oh, that exists on there. That's the boring.
Oh, you just didn't mention the boring ones?
Well, no. These are the ones that are international. These are the ones that we can't get here. Of course, you can get a peppermint latte. Of course, you can get a gingerbread latte here.
I wouldn't get gingerbread, but I would get peppermint.
But it's fun to be able to hypothesize about what Deb wouldn't drink in other countries.
So here's the thing. Like literally, if it's a frappuccino, if it's a dessert, if I'm just looking for sugar and calories, I could probably get behind any of those as long as they didn't have gluten. But if I'm really having coffee with it, then I am very particular.
Deb, I always like it when we talk about leaving jobs because it's a topic that nobody likes to talk about. It's the death of professional work. Nobody likes to acknowledge something that is inevitable, that somebody at some point will always leave a job. So when it becomes the topic for this week, I very much look forward to it. So talk to us about the things you should say to your boss as you're walking your butt out the door.
When you're leaving a job, you want to preserve a couple things. You want to preserve, I'm not going to say your entire reputation, though that would be great, but you want to preserve that last encounter, that last thing with you. Even though people have exit interviews and they say they want to know the truth, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. You know your boss. You know the people you've worked with. You know if you're going to be really honest, if it's honestly going to make a difference at that place. There are so many places that people could bare their heart and soul and do a Jerry Maguire manifesto, and it would never make a difference. So if you're not going to make a difference, my advice is don't destroy what reputation you have with this group when you walk out the door, no matter how good it might feel.
Yeah, and don't let anger be your driving force. Anger is simply an emotion. It is not an act, meaning you don't have to operate from anger. You can just say, this isn't the place for me, which is why I'm leaving, which is why I found another job. Other than the temporary fix it might give you of feeling like you got a one-up on them, life will exist without you at that job, and you'll only be known probably as the dick who walked out the door.
Well, exactly. And the thing is, you don't know when that place, even if you say to yourself, I'm not going to put them down, nobody will ever know, the world is smaller and smaller and smaller, and you don't know when they're going to have the opportunity. I mean, honestly, to put the screws to you again, just like you did to them if you walk out that way.
Very true, especially if you live in a small city.
Especially, but even here's the thing. Industries are small cities, right? Within an industry. So every once in a while, there's a company that can hear the truth, that wants the truth, and will make themselves better for it. I mean, that is all fine and good. But I'm talking about the person you're giving your notice to. Now, statistics tell us that something like 90% of people leave because of their boss.
Right.
Most cases, when you sit down to that person and tell them you're leaving because of them, that's not going to work for you. I mean, in terms of a reference down the road, past this job you've already gotten, right? That's just not going to work. You want that person, if they run into somebody else, to be able to say good things about you. So, I mean, for me, I've had some terrible bosses, and I've never once said, dude, it's because of you. I can't take you anymore. You are like the end of the world for me. I mean, I would probably always honestly frame it in a way that it's time for me to move on. I don't think the growth opportunity, I don't perceive it to be what I think it should be. I think, I probably would be very vague and say something, knowing me, it would be like, I wasn't really looking, but this thing kind of fell in my lap. A friend told me about it and blah, 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 that kind of thing. Putting fault on something that you can't influence, control, or fix, just normally, I'm just saying, because of the human condition, doesn't work out very well for us. And so don't do it. I think try to make it as pleasant as possible, especially, I'm going to say, if you have a medium to average relationship with your boss. If someone has done a good job for me, I mean, Kev, I will go to no end. I will help them get their next job. I will help them get their next house. I will do whatever. I will find them their next spouse if they want. I mean, I am like so good that way.
It's true. She overindulges in friendships that come from workplace relationships.
I'm ridiculous. But it's because that's the only way I can pay them back for having done such a good job for me for so long. Everybody doesn't think like that. And so I think that what we need to think, if we want the words about us to be good forever, then we need to think about what's happening on our way out. One thing I don't think we think about enough is the 2 weeks notice. Everybody gives 2 weeks notice. Some companies accept it, some people don't. Some people are like, the minute you give notice, you got to go. Take your stuff today. So that always feels terrible, and that's kind of a terrible way to do it. But I mean, it's like if you're not on my team, you're on no team. You're out, right? If people do that and you know that your company does that, then don't worry about this piece of the advice. But if you have a job that is important to the company, you're important to the company, your position is genuinely going to be a bit of a hardship for a while, I think people sometimes know that when that's the case. And I think if you can do something very simple, like say, hey, I know 2 weeks notice is the norm. I'm in a position to give you a month's notice so that if you hurry to find somebody, get somebody in here, I can help train them and at least show them the ropes for my position, right? So I think some of those things we do on the way out the door can cover up a bunch of sins that maybe happened while we were there. Thoughts?
I mean, I agree. I think for a lot of people, when you leave a job, you're leaving on bad terms. So the adult thing is to set your pride aside and say, how can I still be a good person when I leave, even though this job or these people weren't great to me? And that's easy for me to say on a podcast when I work for myself, but I have a laundry list of former bosses who I would have loved nothing more than in the moment to tell them what they could go do with that job. But again, that's just in the moment. I wouldn't have felt better about myself afterwards. And living in a small town like Reno, I wouldn't have felt good seeing them again. And living in a small town like Reno, I wouldn't have been super proud of myself knowing that that was going to be a story told about me well after I left. And so I think you're right. The real zig when they zag mentality is to do the opposite of what somebody expects you to do. And if the job isn't great, or if the experience hasn't been wonderful, and everybody kind of leaves by storming off, or, only giving 2 weeks notice, or giving no notice and never showing back up, well, they know that the culture's not good. So zig and be the guy who leaves the right way. Leave being the guy who gives as much notice as they want. Leave being the guy who knows that whether it's 2 weeks or 4 weeks, you're still leaving. It's gone. It's over. And then you're is it the right term? The needle in the haystack, the one who sticks out, the one who they're like, oh, geez, man, if this guy can leave like this, and we always see everybody else leaving like that, we should try to find more people like him, which means we should try to change our culture a little bit. That might be a huge step, but if you are doing the opposite of what everybody else is doing, and you're still doing right by this entity that has done so many people wrong, I think you will stick in their craw for a little while longer, rather than double barreling them and slamming the door on the way out.
I agree, Kev. You're 100% right. A lot can be forgiven in the work world when people are going out the door, depending on how they behave. I think that a lot of bosses don't stop and take inventory of how do we let people leave, and how do we treat them when they leave. I mean, do we say genuinely, if this person is really going to be a loss to our company, do we say that? Do we express that? Do we try to talk them into staying? I think people don't do that enough. I think there's a lot of people that act like, everybody's replaceable, see ya, until you realize that, you know what? Sometimes everyone isn't replaceable, and it's been miserable now for 6 months since so-and-so left.
So what else do you say on the way out?
So I think you talk about the good things. I think you frame it in as positive a way as you can. And if you worked at any place for any length of time, there were some good things. So find those. And I would, express appreciation for those things. I would try really hard to not make it personal. And that is like a boss and coworker thing. Do you know what I mean? Because the minute you go down that road, it's going to be you're going to dig yourself a hole that you can't get out of. So have it be things about, and don't even have it be money. Money is just a necessary dimension at this point. Have it be about opportunity. Have it be about skills that you love doing. Like, this job has more of this, and that's where I think my talent lies. Or when I took this job, I thought that I was really interested in that. But through my growth here, I found out I'm interested in this, and there's more of that over at this other company. So I really think about framing it in a way that it's non-emotional, I'm going to say benign kind of terms, that not a better company, not a better boss, not better coworkers. It's just a better opportunity for me. Period. Done. And I'll do whatever I can to make the transition of leaving as smooth as possible for you and the people I'm leaving behind.
I know it's really tough being the bigger person, and I know it's even tougher being the bigger person when you've been wronged. And I think rarely has anybody changed a company walking out the door saying that they no longer want to be affiliated with that company. And so if you're going to change it in a way that they won't anticipate, which is saying what you feel, but in a positive light. Hey, they offer me this. They are able to provide X, Y, and Z. This is something that I'm looking for in my future job, which now aligns with this company. You can say all the things that you want to say in a demeaning way, but you can frame it in rose-colored glasses for the other place. And by doing so, you hopefully will strike a chord with them to where they say, well, wait a minute. If this other place is doing this and we're losing somebody who's a quality worker, maybe there are some things that we can do on our end to make sure the person who replaces them stays a little longer. If that's your motive. And that should be your motive. Your motive should be like, leave something better than when you found it. Have the job be better for the person after you, because hopefully the job you're taking is better because of the person who left it prior to you.
100%. I couldn't have said it better myself. Literally leave it better. Take the higher road. Do the right thing. I think that will pay off for you in the end. And then go and enjoy your new opportunity. You know what this isn't? Quitting a job isn't breaking up with somebody romantically. And I think sometimes people almost get that confused because the feelings are similar, but they're not the same.
Well, it's not the same, and you shouldn't have emotion with it. And even if you've been wrong, you shouldn't have emotion with it. Just because somebody made your work experience less than desirable, that's on them. Those are their demons to sort out. That really has nothing to do with you, because there's probably 10 other people who feel the exact same way, which means you're not alone in that. They're treated the same way. So you can only manage yourself. And the best way to manage yourself is smiling as you walk out the door to greener pastures. Let's give you some questions in Dear Debbie. Dear Debbie, I am the highest producer on my team, even now during COVID. My boss constantly tells me what a good job I am doing and thanks me for being in this business. I appreciate that. I feel like he doesn't cut me a break at other times, though. I have one downfall. I am not very good with time. I admit that I sometimes show up to staff meetings late. I have even been known to skip a meeting if I am tired or getting distracted by something else I'm working on. I check in with my boss or coworkers afterwards to get caught up, but recently I have gotten complaints. I realize being late isn't good, but nobody else is pulling in the big bucks like me. Do you think I deserve a pass?
Absolutely not. No. Do you think he does?
I think
I have
it's
a he. Is it he?
It does not. I don't think there's a gender associated with it. So I'll counterbalance it by saying she has no right to show up late if every single person is on time. You might bring in the most money, and that's awesome. Do you know what that's indicative of? You doing your job.
Exactly.
Everybody in sales is what it sounds like. Their job is to bring in money. And unless they said to you on day one when you started working, by the way, if you're the number one saleswoman in this company, you get to shirk some responsibilities. If they said that to you, totally fine. If that was never mentioned and you thought by doing a good job, which is in your job description that you should always be doing a good job, that now you get to slack in other elements of this job, well, that's on you. Nobody gave you permission to do that. Nobody said that's good for you. Nobody said, hey, you're earning, 17% more than Doug, and we're thinking about firing Doug. So let us just put all of our attention on Doug, and you just hunker down in your cubicle, and we'll get to you when we need to. Don't worry about these meetings. Nobody said that to you. You just took the onus upon yourself to say, I'm not good at time, and because I'm good at my job, I'm not going to find my way to the team meeting. That's like total narcissistic stuff.
So I think there are some things that you can swap, okay? Like, meaning I'm different than you and I perform well in this arena. Recently, I gave a talk at an event, and somebody wanted me to, the day before, kind of practice it, right? I, of course, knew what I was talking about. I didn't really want to practice it because practicing a talk with no people in front of you is such an energy weird thing for me.
That's
right?
what I do, though. But for you, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I think I'm flat. Does that make sense?
Sure.
I think I don't bounce anything because there aren't the people to bounce it off of. And I know, like, I am the kind that will walk amongst the group and call people out.
Here's what stuff. Deb's not telling you. Deb likes looking at other people and saying, here's the talk I'm giving. Give me questions. That's what she likes doing. So it has nothing to do with practicing, because I know that she's capable and competent to practice the talk. But what she's doing, and what is very smart, is she says, I can have all of my talking points, but it doesn't mean anything if nobody else wants to actually hear them. So tell me, what do you want to hear?
And I will pivot.
Yep.
I will pivot and I will change. So for me to practice without an audience is like just some weird, strange monologue. I may as well just read it or hand somebody a script and let them read it. What I'll say to people, however, is, because I know that person is dying to have me practice because they want it to be right. But what I'll say is, look, how about if we don't practice? How about if I tell you how long it'll take? How about if I'm super respectful of the time constraints and the time components? But I need for you to let me have the space to pivot and change if there's any magic that's going to happen in that room that is going to be their aha or takeaway, right? So I ask for the flexibility. That doesn't harm anybody. That's not disrespectful to anybody. That's not unkind to that person that is really, I'm going to say, the type of personality that wants everything well organized and well planned. And I'm sort of the opposite of that. Okay.
Well, this is all you have to say. I mean, honestly, this is it. And if you are outpacing the rest of the team by a considerable margin, meaning like you guys have numbers and your graph is, like 12 to 15 percentage points higher than somebody else's, or if you monitor it monetarily and you've made $50,000 more than everybody else in the year, I think you have the right to go say to your boss, listen, sometimes these team meetings are very monotonous. You know that I put in the work to be the best that yields these types of results. Is it okay if ahead of time I say I'm going to be late or I can't show up because I'm putting in the work that allows me to be the best in this field? You have to have the conversation. You don't get to assume it, because here's what's going to happen. You're going to be number one, and everybody's going to hate you for acting like you're number one. And your boss is then going to look at everybody and be like, you're right. They're kind of ruining the culture by having this ego, which this is all fueled by ego. And they're going to say, you either need to start showing up or we're going to have to begrudgingly let you go, because your actions outside of the work you do are actually inhibiting everybody else.
I'm assuming there's a team involved, and that's therefore why there's a team meeting or a meeting. And he is a member of the team, even though his performance is excellent.
Yes, she is.
Tom Brady doesn't not show up.
Correct.
To practice, right? Or to the team meetings, if you will. And I just think like nobody is too important for that. Now, if those meetings literally have nothing to do with his job, and if his opinion doesn't matter, then have those meetings and don't include him or her.
Yep.
But I think it's so disrespectful if you're invited and if you're expected and that you don't show up. I think it's awful no matter what your performance is.
Dear Debbie, I'm a 50-year-old woman who wants to go back to school for the first time since high school. 10 years ago, I tried to attend community college, but having a full-time job in addition to being a single mother prevented me from fitting into my schedule. My son is in college now, and because of the pandemic, I want to move on from my job at a grocery store. Do you have any advice on this new big step? How do I balance schoolwork, a personal life, and my job during the pandemic? Is it worth it?
Of course she can get through it. Here would be the things that I would say to somebody that was 50 years old, that had been working at a grocery store and hadn't had any higher education since high school. I would make sure that I was really ready for what the process required. I would make sure that let's say my computer skills, it's the pandemic. A lot of this is going to be online. I would make sure that I had the equipment and the skills so that I could do the job right. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, she worked at a grocery store. People at the grocery store were considered essential workers. It's not like the pandemic was leaving her at home so that she had, I'm going to say, some extra time or a little cheater time there. I'm assuming it was important for her to go into the grocery store. So I'm not sure that the pandemic really plays into this.
Well, I think she might be saying, I don't want to do this job anymore because I was considered essential. And I think we've all lived long enough now to understand that the essential workers are now in the crosshairs of like everybody. So she's probably going to be part of that great resignation.
Oh yeah.
Where she doesn't want this. She doesn't want to be client facing anymore. She doesn't want to have to deal with mean or angry or non-mask wearing customers because that's the right. She wants to try something else, which she's totally willing and able to do. I oftentimes think people just overcomplicate life every step of the way. They play all the different scenarios in their head. And no matter how they play it out, they always think it's going to be hard. And you know what? It might be. It might be hard. You're 50. You've known however many jobs. Currently, you work at a grocery store. You're trying to go get an education, probably in a field that is a little more advanced than stocking shelves or management or understanding vendor relations, okay? This is what you want to do. Nobody's making you do this. These are your own thoughts. So you don't get to then say, but should I do it? It's up to you. Nobody's telling you what you should or shouldn't do. If you don't want to work at the grocery store, don't work at the freaking grocery store. If you want to go to school, go to school. If these are the things you really want, you will make them happen. You will manifest them. You have an adult kid. Tell that kid, send me $50 a month. That's going to help out. That kid's going to be like, okay, I don't care, whatever, fine. And if he doesn't, you raised a bad kid. No, I'm just kidding. But these are the things that you should want to do if, in fact, you want to do them. It is the idea of starting over at 50 isn't novel.
Oh, no. I absolutely think it's all doable. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And by the way, you looked like a pink preacher there.
Thank you.
Your arms waved up. You were going for it. Thank you. But what I think here is what is really in her mind. I mean, what is she worried about? She went to school 32 years ago, right? And what is different? A lot.
All of it.
I mean, everything is different. So I guess what I would say is assess what's different. Make sure you're ready for the difference. I mean, that's the biggest piece of it,
of course.
Right? And I mean, make sure you can compensate for that with the right tools and the right skills to move forward. But I mean, go for it. Because there's a piece of me that also says, you're only 50. If you have 20 more years in the workplace, let's make them a good 20 and let's do what it is you want to actually do.
I agree. Rip the Band-Aid off. Just go do it. This is not hard. This is like not starting your own company. This is not moving to a different country. This is not like adopting 12 refugees and hoping that you have enough income to fulfill all of their human requirements. You can work.
Yep.
You can go to school.
Yep.
You can still have a personal life. You know how I know that's possible? Because every college kid does it.
Yeah,
because
they do.
Every doctor manages to do it before they become a doctor. Because this country is founded on people doing multiple things at once. Your situation is not unique. You're overthinking it. You're stronger than you imagine. You are a single mother who raised a kid well enough to go into the workforce. You are capable and competent enough to do two things at once.
Well, and I do think, I want to say this, and there's certainly, and shout out to all the single moms out there who did go to, isn't that a Beyonce song?
Shout out to all the single moms out there.
That should be the Beyonce song.
I think it's a shout out to all the single ladies, single ladies. So a little different than single moms.
Different, but it should be the single moms because the ones that did work and did go to school and did raise kids. But I can honestly see as a mom, if what I have to really take away from is that little bit of time I have with my child, I mean, that would feel terrible. I mean, absolutely terrible.
Of course.
So at an earlier age, maybe she really didn't feel she could do it. The truth about that is that was a choice too.
Of course.
You know, now it's her. It's just her.
Yep.
She can do it. I mean, you can work 8 hours a day and go to school 3 or 4 hours a day. That is doable. I cheer her on.
Another Beyonce lyric is "Women run the world." Okay, file that away. Not all the single moms. Women run the world.
That's good. We're cheering Beyonce on here.
Dear Debbie, my husband and I. This is okay. I like this one because what it shows is that even when we call people adults, we're all still children. We're all still children. Dear Debbie. My husband and I own a cottage with 3 of his siblings. As we all have different decorating tastes, it has become difficult to agree on what decorations have been brought into the cottage. Okay, buying a cabin with your family, maybe not the best idea. There is one decoration that I feel is absolutely tasteless and wondered what you think I should do about it. My sister-in-law framed a picture of her 22-year-old son on the toilet and put the picture on a shelf in the bathroom next to the toilet. I really don't think it's appropriate. We have many guests and visitors. Many of them are children, and I'm embarrassed by the picture. I have turned it around and placed it in a drawer, but it always ends up on display. I have even tried moving the picture to a bookshelf in a different room so it wouldn't be as conspicuous. But as I feared, my sister-in-law moved it back to the bathroom shelf. During my last visit to the cottage, I took that picture and hid it where nobody will find it. Was that the right thing to do? This is a serious letter. My husband's family feels I'm being too sensitive and unnecessarily offended.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. If I owned a cottage with whoever, a bunch of other people.
Your 3 non-existent siblings.
And our tastes were remarkably different. That's a tough one because it represents all of you,
Totally.
right? And so, and I'm just thinking of a situation when they're not all there and I'm just having my friends there. I want it to look like what I think my cottage should look like. So a little sympathy there. However, you chose to buy a cottage with these people and your family, so you know whose side I'm going to take right now. Do I think it's weird that the kid is 22 and they took a picture? I think that is totally weird. Like if he's 22 now, but the picture was when he was 4, I can kind of get behind that as being adorable. But they obviously have a different sense of humor. This is about the crazy uncle we talk about that gives the gag gift. This comes up over and over. And we always pick the side of the person pulling the gag. You know that person exists. You can't take them too seriously. If it's only your family, like seriously, who cares? I mean, if you're all there together, who cares? If your family's not there and it's just you, put the picture in a drawer. They're going to take it back out. If it's people that you would really not want to see the picture, no matter what, people like maybe your boss and his friend is coming, then you know what? Bury the picture deep, deep, deep in a drawer, not to be found. But really thinking that you have the right to get rid of the picture forever and going to all this grief is so ridiculous. I can't believe it.
This is a glimpse into a world that clearly Deb and I are unfamiliar with as we have no siblings. But I can tell you this. Somebody who takes a photo of their 22-year-old son on the toilet didn't just start doing weird stuff.
No.
That to them is an exclamation point on the relationship that they have with the family and with their child. They probably have a multitude of bathroom-related photography in and around other homes that they own. So it is astonishing to me that people look at a situation like this and assume like it's a one-off. You've known these people for X amount of years. You know they're in your world, the weird people. You know what you are to them? The prude, the boring person, the wet freaking blanket who can't take a joke, who doesn't know fun. I know I can picture these people in my head. Would I want to own anything with them? Hell no. But would I want to hang out with you instead? Absolutely not.
No.
You are overcomplicating something. You are making a mountain out of a molehill. And all of these people are right and you're wrong. All of them. I wouldn't want to spend time with them. I wouldn't want to own a timeshare with them. Lord knows they would never be able to decorate my house. You're wrong. They're right. They're hillbillies. You're uptight. These people should be able to put whatever they want in their own home, and you have to deal with it because you also made the conscious decision of marrying into the freaking family.
And buying property with them.
Yeah.
That was your biggest mistake. I mean, here's what they're not telling you. There's also a camera embedded in the light that has taken 1,000 pictures of you on the toilet, and they're all laughing at that.
And they've printed them off, and they're all in their homes.
And they're all everywhere else. It's just, it's also like that person is forcing me to take the side of people that I don't really want to take their side.
At all.
But I have to.
Totally.
Because they're wrong.
Yeah. The fact is, 3/4, assuming your husband's siding with you, which I'm sure he is biting his tongue about.
Yeah, for sure.
3/4 of the people who own the house like the 22-year-old pooping. They like it. They think it's funny. They find it amusing. You're the outlier.
Because if I think of myself and I think like, let's just say that I'm going up there, with my family for the weekend, and I think that photo is just like ridiculous and stupid.
Yes.
I literally am going to take that photo. I'm going to put it in a drawer if I think it's ridiculous and stupid. But you know what I'm also going to do? I'm going to take that photo out when I leave and put it back where it was. Because if I like my family, if I care about the relationships of my family, I'm just going to go, different sense of humor, aren't they weird? And I'm still going to be gracious about it. But no, she's making this into a bad people thing when it's not a bad people thing.
Yeah, just get a divorce.
Yeah.
All right, Deb, as we wind this podcast up, tell us what you're thankful for.
Okay, I know what I'm for sure thankful for.
Okay.
I'm thankful for Mexican weddings.
Oh, big time.
I'm thankful for Acapulco.
Big time.
I'm thankful for 87, 90-degree weather when it's not the weather like that where I live.
Were you thankful for 80% humidity? Was that something you were thankful for?
when I was in the pool, I was thankful for 80% humidity. I was okay with it then. I'm going to be grateful for it all, Kevin.
Sure.
I'm grateful for the beautiful house we stayed in.
Yep.
I'm grateful for the pool. I'm grateful for the view of the ocean.
Yep.
I'm grateful for the people that made food for us and all the delicious food we ate.
Yep.
I'm grateful for the darling couple and their life ahead of them that made me believe in love again, which is what all young people do when they get married.
Sappy.
They remind you. I'm grateful for all the friends that we knew would be there that we haven't seen for a long time because of COVID. And I'm grateful for new friends that we met.
Yeah, I share all of your thankfuls as well. A trip like this is the thing that all of us wanted a year ago.
Yeah, for
a year and a half ago. Being around people you love and adore, celebrating people that you care about, and being able to make a ton of memories outside your own four walls is the thing that all of us craved. And so I tried to be extremely present while I was there. I tried to be extremely inclusive while I was there because it was a great reminder about what we have missed so much of. And I know that I've already canceled the pandemic. I know that I've already said the pandemic is over. But non-toilet paper related pandemic stories, this is one of those great reminders that like there was always going to be life after a global pandemic. There was always going to be life after quarantine. And this is just a great exclamation point that we were able to kind of come through it on the right side and be around people that we loved being around, and super duper thankful about being able to experience that. I know this is one of the hardest questions that you're asked now, Deb.
Apparently, like when you posted that little blurb of the last time you asked me this, Kevin, I laughed so hard just watching the blurb again. Who can get stumped on what's for dinner tonight? But you successfully stumped me.
At the risk of you laughing too hard and peeing your pants, what is for dinner this evening?
Tonight, we're having a petite pork loin.
Yum.
The small one. And so it's two because they come two. That's how we buy them. And we're doing like a wonderful kind of, I'm going to say spicy herbaceous glaze on the top of it.
Ooh, like a chutney.
Yeah, but like with a little heat underneath it.
Over just like some greens?
Over some greens, yeah.
That sounds delightful.
What do you think? Should we make a little bit of rice? What's your thought?
You know what I like? I like the idea. I'm not usually, like I always thought it was weird when people would order like steak on a salad. I always thought that was kind of odd. Somehow pork in my mind, and like pork with a glaze, I'm okay with that being over greens. Like if you made a salad and then put that pork on top of it, I'm like so absolutely okay with that.
You know what? Then let's do that because I've got some nice fresh spinach I need to use up.
Sold.
Okay, we'll do it.
Sold. And if you thought we were going to say something like nachos again, you were wrong. But that is going to do it for this Monday's episode of the Deb and Kev podcast. Remember to like, rate, and review wherever you listen to this particular show. And then you can follow us on all of our social media accounts at Deb and Kev Pod. And if you want to see what I look like in pink and you want to see what Deb looks like in pink, you can follow us and watch us at our YouTube channel at Deb and Kev Pod. Mom, I love you to death.
I love you, baby.
We'll see you guys on Thursday.
Thank you for listening to the Deb and Kev podcast. Remember to like and subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast. Follow Deb and Kev on Facebook and on Instagram and Twitter at Deb and Kev Pod.